what are hidden rules? Hidden rules are unspoken cueing mechanisms people use to let you know whether you belong or not. And we have them by race, we have them by religion, we have them by region of the country, we have them by socioeconomic class as well. And we're going to define socioeconomic class as the extent to which you have 9 resources. The more resources you have that are stable, the more you tend to live in a very ordered, predictable world that you can plan. Well, I'm going to talk about 2 hidden rules, but one to give you the idea is appearance. You have 3 minutes in a job interview based upon your appearance. Not only your clothing, your skin color, everything. And people judge your abilities based upon your appearance. Well, we have hidden rules around money and time. And no matter where you are in the world, you will find these rules. Educators, healthcare professionals, many people find these rules very difficult to understand because they don't know, they're not articulated. So let me give you a couple. When you have resources that are stable, what you will do is you'll do certain things with your time and money, and we call that middle class, no matter where you are in the world. You'll make your decisions about how you spend your time and money against 3 things: work, achievement, and material security. And middle class has 4 rules about money. Number 1, I don't ask you for money and you don't ask me. Number 2, if you borrow, you have to pay it back. Number 3, you never ever quit a job until you have another one. And number 4, do you tell people your salary? No. And what happens is they go to work, they go to school for better classes, and they buy things: time, money, and material security. But if you're in wealth and you've been there 2 generations, you have a different problem. Your problem this time is you have many, many resources, more than you can take care of by yourself. And it makes you very vulnerable at a personal safety level. So what you do is you make your decisions very differently. You could be robbed, you could be kidnapped. Middle class has reverse snobbery about wealth because they don't understand personal safety. But in wealth, your decisions are made against your financial, your social, and your political connections. 1, they keep you safe. 2, they help you make more money, which leads to another hidden rule. When you go to a party among the truly wealthy, you never introduce yourself. If you do, often they'll turn around and walk off. You won't even be acknowledged. But if you go to a party among middle class and you don't introduce yourself, then you're considered a snob. But if you were wealthy, you would do the same thing. And let me explain why. These rules help you survive an environment. In biology, it's very understandable that an organism will adapt to its environment. Well, so do people. Let's suppose we're at a party. You're wealthy and I'm not. I introduce myself to one of you. You know what you're thinking? Who is she and what does she want? If she were anybody at all, I would have been introduced to her. And when you are introduced, they say your name and your connection, firm or family. And those hidden rules then help you survive the environment. And what's the rule about money and wealth? Well, the rule about money and wealth is you just don't talk about the cost of an individual item. Why would you? It would be bad form to do so, and if you have to ask, you shouldn't be there, okay? But if you were in poverty and you've been there 2 generations, you have a different problem again. This time you don't have material security. Oh, you have a few things, but your resource base is very unstable and every day is a crisis. And so what happens is that you make your decisions differently. In poverty, you make your decisions against survival because that's what you do every day. Relationships, people, because people keep you alive, not necessarily work. Work is not predictable. And number 3, entertainment. Entertainment takes away the pain. And when people become your possession, then the rules change. That's why often in generational poverty, parents will fear their children getting too educated, or spouses will fear their spouse getting too educated. Because what happens when people get educated? They leave. And in poor white neighborhoods, they say, you're getting above your raisins, you're too big for your britches. In poor African American neighborhoods, they call them Oreos. Poor Hispanic neighborhoods, coconuts. Poor Asian neighborhoods, bananas. Poor Native American Indian neighborhoods, apples. But the issue is still the same. We're afraid we're going to lose you. And the reason for it is this. When you have stable resources, middle class worries that when they get old, they won't have financial security. But in generational poverty, when you get old, you worry you won't have physical safety, and you want your children there with you. And that's why in generational poverty, middle class and wealth, how you show the world you love your children is very different. Middle class thinks they're about a responsibility. So they spend a lot of money and time on development, swimming lessons, tennis lessons, you send them to college. In wealth, you make sure they have the right connections, the right schools, the right boarding schools, the right opportunities. But in poverty, you buy them designer shoes and designer clothes and cell phones and video games, because it's important that anybody who sees that child knows that they're loved by someone and they're just like anyone else. And what's the rule about money and poverty? If I have any and you ask me for some, I have to share. That's how we'll stay alive. Money is communal.